Hey everybody, Shane Presley here, Rock Paper Podcast. Thank you so much for checking out another brand new episode. Thank you if you first time or long time, however long you've been listening to the show. I appreciate all your continued support as we're creeping up on 1,000. This is wild to think about. So thank you again for all the years of support. Episode 999 with Jeremiah Johnson, with special guest Paul Niehaus and Tom Maloney hanging out on this one. We had a lot of fun recording this over at Blue Lotus Recording Studio in St. Louis, where that's where they recorded this record. We're going to talk about Jeremiah Johnson's brand new album, Hi-Fi Drive-By, due out on October 21st. And you're going to get a little sneak peek at it today, and hope you enjoy it. Do want to remind you, as always, Rock Paper Podcast is brought to you by Friendship Brewing Company in Wentzville, Missouri, serving up all your craft beer needs. Over 25 rotating taps, and you can come on out and enjoy a beverage. You can get some burgers and flatbread pizza and pretzels and nachos and salads and all kinds of tasty treats out there. And you can enjoy some great live music. Again, all on Fridays and Saturdays and Sundays they do some music. And you can come out on Friday, October 14th and see Matt Waltershed out there. Saturday, October 15th, they're doing a Friendstoberfest, and the Worst Barbarian Band kicks it off 3 to 6, and Buddy and Q 7 to 10. You can find their full beer menu, food menu, and concert calendar, and everything else at friendshipbrewingcompany.com, and be sure to follow along with them on your Facebook and Instagram. Also, big thank you to Roughneck Beard Company and American Rambler for their continued support. You can visit them in the Maplewood area or shop 24/7 at roughneckbeardcompany.com and use my code RPP15 for an exclusive 15% off your purchase. It's officially beard season. The weather is cooling off and it's prime time for growth. Whether you are keeping it growing or growing it out for the first time, Roughneck Beard Company products make it better. Eliminate the itch and set the stage for a faster, fuller growth with Roughneck's full line of beard oils, balms, washes, and nutrient sprays. Again, you can find it all at roughneckbeardcompany.com. Use my code to save 15% off your favorite beard oils, balms, junk powder, soaps, combs, whatever you might need to take care of that beard and mustache of yours. You can find it there. And if you need me, of course, you can always find me at rockpaperpodcast.com. Hit me up on the socials. Email me at rockpaperpodcast@gmail.com. And if you haven't seen online, I just recently added the old Boombox t-shirt onto the merch store. You can find that rockpaperpodcast.com /merch or buyjack.com/rockpaperpodcast. Appreciate anybody that's already bought those. Those turned out really nice. Big thanks again to Andrew Binder at Icon and Ink to drawing that up for me. If you'd like to take home a t-shirt, hat, tank top, whatever you might need, you can find it all at the merch store, buyjack.com /rockpaperpodcast. And that is it for me, everybody. Hope you enjoy this brand new episode with my buddy, Jeremiah Johnson.
Podcast is kind of like it's like a radio show that's not on the radio. It's on the internet. Does that make sense? Uh-huh. Yeah. That's also like my mom. It makes it sound more confusing, doesn't it? It sounds like this.
Rock Paper Podcast.
This is beat paper, paper covers rock. Rock beats is the Shane covers non-stop. Never know what new kind of guest that he's got coming at you. Live and direct on the spot. Could be rock, folk, country, or hip-hop, jazz. All kind of folks that he has. Could be an artist or a comedian to make you laugh on the
Rock Paper Podcast.
double-decker fudge round, rolling round town. Shane coming at you live and direct from ground zero. He's your hero, he's your bestie. Rock Paper Podcast with Shane Presley.
Rock Paper Podcast.
Hey everybody, Shane Presley here, Rock Paper Podcast, coming to you from St. Louis, Missouri. Recording today at Blue Lotus Recording Studio right here in St. Louis. And got some talented friends with me today. I'm hanging out with Jeremiah Johnson.
Hello, everybody. How you doing? It's me. And we got Tom Maloney here with us.
Howdy.
Mr. Paul Niehaus.
How's it going? Thank you, Shane.
Yeah, man, this is very cool. I'm, excuse me, very excited to be back here at Blue Lotus. We've had a lot of fun down here over the years and talking about several records that have been recorded and produced down here, and I'm excited to be talking about another brand new one. We got a brand new record from Jeremiah Johnson and titled Hi-Fi Drive-By, due out on October 21st. And so I thought this would be really cool to sit down and kind of get in a little insight into the record, and obviously having Paul and Tom here kind of talking about your guys' role in creating all this too. So, sure. But yeah, so I guess let's start with that, like, cause you guys have been, Jeremiah and Paul, you guys have been working together for a while now, but
Yeah.
is this your first record down here though, or?
No, this is the second one we've done down here. Back whenever the pandemic came along and, we were all forced to stay home and all that. Basically, I just got a hold of Paul and said, hey, do you want to put together some songs that we could release online to try to make a little money and make some, and, of course we were itching to make music because I didn't see any signs that things were going to change as far as, the world opening back up and that. And so Paul wanted to do it and said, heck yeah, man, let's do it. So came over and we had Tony Antonelli on drums, and we whipped out 8 songs. And anyway, we liked them. We thought we could probably release them online and make a little money to help pay for our bills and such. And but I'm on Roof Records, so I had to let them hear it, and they listened to it and immediately said, let's go ahead and release it. So that was unexpected. We weren't planning on that happening, and so we did release it, and then ended up that the album was nominated for a 2022 Blues Music Award for the best blues rock album of the year.
Nice.
So it was a real surprise, But ever since then, we've been going around. We started right away, go wherever we could play back then, and because there was certain cities and states, that were totally locked down, and
Right.
and we just kept going at it, and then now here we are, 2022, and I think it was in November of last year that we started talking about making a new album, and I had went on the Legendary Blues Cruise, and I was taking some notes on some of these legendary guys, Curtis Saldago for one, and kind of really thought to myself, okay, I see what he's doing, and what some of these bigger names were doing, where they were leaning into the talents of others that they had around them, and just letting themselves sort of be the singer, the star, or whatever you want to call it, the artist. And so I kind of started thinking about that, and when I got back, I talked to Paul and Tom, and I was like, hey, let's put together an album and let's do it together. And they agreed they wanted to be a part of it. So that was the beginning of the Hi-Fi Drive-By, and we started working on it, I think, at the beginning of 2022, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
January, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, man. Well, this, you guys gave me a little sneak peek and I was listening to it last night at work, and then again on the drive in, and a lot of fun, man. This record, I've obviously been following along with Jeremiah for many years, and
they're all a lot of great records, but this was different, man. Obviously, having Paul and Tom's influence on it, I felt like there was some different sounds coming out of this record for sure.
Yes, indeed.
Especially keys. I don't recall you having a whole lot of keys in some of your records. So
yeah, we had some keys in some of them, but really the biggest difference is that this was a collaboration. Right away from the beginning, it was more along the lines of that. Tom started coming over to my house, every week, and I started taking some guitar lessons from him, and we started throwing out song ideas. And then Paul and Tom and I started meeting down here at Blue Lotus once a week, and going through all the different song ideas we had. We were recording them and seeing what we could come up with. There was some beer drinking and some other shenanigans going on, and we ended up with, I think it was somewhere around 16 different song ideas, and some of them were obviously already for sure songs we knew that we wanted to do, and others weren't, and then we kind of picked through them in that and decided we wanted an album that flowed real well. So we kind of tried to pick out songs, of those that we had ideas and focus on them. And it was a really fun process. I've never collaborated with anybody as far as songwriting and that on any of my previous records, and but I was trying to keep in mind that I wanted to be the artist and not necessarily worry about all that stuff. I just worry about what I have to do, as far as write lyrics and sing and play guitar and that. And I wanted to be, just a part of it too. If my part was just a little rhythm, or my part was not even to play, whatever it was, I wanted to be a team on it. And, I think you can hear that in the album. You hear the different song ideas and things, and that's why it's a unique record for me. And I think it's got some maturity level to it that would not have been there without their help,
Yeah.
It all flowed real easy, though. I never felt like we,
Right.
I mean, a couple of times we had to scratch our heads for some lyrics or whatever, but Jeremiah came up with them. He wrote all the lyrics, basically, and, it never felt like work. I was always ready to go to the next meeting or get together because I don't know. I think the other guys felt that way too, that we were really doing something. We weren't just hanging out, jamming and stuff. We felt like we were moving forward with this, and it all came together pretty easy, I think. And then when we got Joe Meyer, the drummer, involved, it became what it is. We laid the foundation,
Yeah. Yeah, by the time we brought in Joe, if you don't know who Joe Meyer is, he's a St. Louis drummer who's considered by many to be, top elite drummer here in the area. He's been on some major big stages, with country acts all around the world, and just phenomenal drummer and a great guy and just a talent, But by the time we got to him, we already had pretty much a good idea of what we were going to do, and we got to work on them several times with him before we got to the recording process too. So that was nice to be able to kind of just jam.
And he had good input too.
He did. He really did.
What he brought to the table, and Paul would hear what Jeremiah and I was doing, and he'd say, "Well, what about a bridge here?" Or, and he would help arrange it and bring it into focus and stuff.
Yeah. And all these were written, you said after the initial session meeting in January, but so none of these were continued off of Unemployed or anything, after, or an idea?
Well, I have one song on the album that's an old song of mine that I wrote when I was in my early 20s, Young and Blind. And I'd originally written that a long time ago.
All right.
And, but I don't think there was anything that we had.
There's Hot Blooded Love.
Hot Blooded Love. That's
that
right.
one
Oh,
appeared
yeah.
on the St. Louis Blues Society 19 and 19 compilation.
That's right.
So
that's
that's
right.
that's technically the first track on the one on the Blues Society record. That version is the first track he recorded here.
Yeah.
But we did a whole new version of that.
Yeah.
And this one's just over the top with horns and strings and background vocals and
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I forgot about that. That's right. Yeah. So we had a couple of songs that were, but the rest of it was just kind of on the fly, and it was interesting. We were really concerned with the flow of the record, and so we would say, well, we have a song like this, so let's get a song like this, and it was kind of that kind of thing where we were trying to think about how the album would sound if you were listening to it old school and you put the vinyl down, which you will be able to get a vinyl of. And so it was fun to be able to do that and work with, I don't know how many of the listeners know Tom Maloney, but he's a freaking St. Louis legend and a musical genius, and
I don't know
there's
about
just,
that.
I know about that.
How about an idiot with a guitar?
Well,
But we work good together, and
and then Paul is also the same way. I think of him as a musical genius too, and so it was really for me. I'm more of a. I took lessons. I went to college and studied jazz for a couple of years, but I didn't really pay a lot of attention. I wanted to be a rock star. I was worried about that kind of thing, and so to have these two, there to really kind of like reel me in and point me in the right direction, it was great. It made it, and I think you can hear that on the album too. Everything is dialed in to the point. I mean, there's not notes on there that clash in any way. In fact, when we were in the recording process, it was mind blowing to me to the ears these two have. I mean, they could hear two people in there singing, and they could tell you what chord they were and this seventh of that, and they need to be doing a lot of da. And I'm like sitting here going, man, how in the world can you hear that and then know what it is? So that's the kind of expertise that these two brought, and I think it really made the record fantastic.
Yeah, man. Well, let's give them a little sneak peek. I think we, give them a little idea what the sounds are, and let's talk about a song called "The Squeeze."
All right, man. Yeah, I know for a fact. I remember specifically whenever I first came up with the little intro riff or the headpiece to it, and oddly enough, I was just thinking about. Kind of like a Clapton KC classic type song, and I don't know, KC 95 is a radio station in St. Louis that back in their young days, they were the first to play full-length albums and such, and sort of the revolution of rock and roll in the Midwest, and pretty famous station, and at least to us. Mm-hmm. And so that was the idea, and then I don't know, went from there.
Yeah.
You're the undisputed champ. You're the best there's ever been. Yeah, getting on my nerves and crawling in my skin. Wake up every morning feeling like I've already been 10 rounds. If I didn't want you so bad, darling, I'd have already thrown in the damn towel. I said, baby, I'm still loving you. Trying to tell me that I've got it made. Said it tastes like lemons and I'm tired of lemonade. You know what to say when you're trying to set me off.
Set me off.
I know we're gonna work it out, darling, but won't be the damn cause. I said, baby, Lord, I'm still loving you, yes. I said, baby, I'm still loving you, yes. Your honey is money, and you're built to please. But I'm beginning to wonder if your juice is worth the squeeze. We're trying to tell me that things are gonna change. I sure wanna believe you, that somehow you know this damn thing. But I got a bad feeling, like I'm dropping like a stone.
Like a stone.
It'd be the same damn cage woman standing here all alone. I said, baby, Lord, I'm still loving you, yes. I said, baby, I'm still loving you, yes. Lord, baby.
bring in some extra hands to help along with you three. We got some extra players and stuff on this song also, and a couple other songs throughout the record, obviously.
Yeah.
Let's give a shout out to the horn section and the great arranging for the horns that was done by Kevin O'Connor, who's a great friend of mine and co-producer here with a lot of my records here at Blue Lotus. And so he wrote out the horn charts, and we had Casimir Taylor on the trumpet, who Jeremiah went to school with way back in the day.
Oh, nice.
Which is a pretty neat connection. Yeah. We had Frank Bauer on the saxophone, who was in Jeremiah's band for many years. And we had John Cavelli and Dave Dickey on the trombones. And we had Kevin O'Connor on the Barry sax.
Yeah, man.
And we also have on background vocals both the River Kittens and Emily Wallace.
Yeah.
How about that combination?
Yeah, that was quite the collection of people there for sure. A lot of St. Louis All-Stars, but that's probably one of my favorite parts of the record. I just really enjoyed hearing the background vocals, especially those three are very talented at what they do, and so it was fun to hear those voices coming through on adding a little touch to the background harmonies and stuff. And
It was a fantastic thing to witness when you were watching them do it with all three of them. They just had so much natural talent, and the River Kittens could perfectly harmonize with each other and then harmonize on top of themselves again. And Emily was just a monster. I mean, she just came out there and just really whipped it, man. I was so impressed with them. It's a real pleasure to have all three of those ladies on it. And, I'd always wanted to have female backup singers when I was a young man. I was a huge Bob Seger and the Silver Bullet Band fan, and there was always female backup singers on nearly everything he put out. And
another
sort of
KC classic.
Yeah, sort of that era, really, it was popular to have female backup singers.
Yeah.
And you don't see it as much anymore with bands today, because I think they're just kind of worried about keeping it, not dragging around as many people, maybe economics of it and that. But that was the idea, like kind of giving that old school sound by having the female backup vocals, and man, they really knocked it out of the park.
They did.
Yep.
On all the tunes. But, on this tune that we're talking about, the Squeeze, it's kind of a combination of two styles. Because, like Jeremiah was saying, you got the kind of classic rock sound in the beginning. But then when you come to the chorus, it's like Wilson Pickett at Stax Records or something,
Yeah.
And it's such it flowed so easily in between the two, and of course the background vocals really come out on the chorus.
Yeah,
and but all three of those girls were so intuitive. Their natural instincts, they just dug right in and were at home with their surroundings, and we were very excited when we heard the results.
yes, indeed.
Yeah, very cool. This so again, all this hi-fi drive-by will be available worldwide on October 21st. If you come out to some shows, we got some physicals already.
Yeah, and actually you can pre-order it right now, and I would encourage everybody to please do so, because bands like us, that aren't huge bands and don't have, 50, 70, 100,000 people, following us in that. That's really the best shot we have at getting on the Billboard charts, and,
Sure.
and not that the Billboard charts are the make all end all or whatever, but what that kind of thing does is it helps us to book festivals and things, so we can get in more cities around the United States and Europe and that.
Yeah.
And you can pre-order it now. It's available. The link's on my website, jeremiahjohnsonband.com. But the official worldwide release is October 21st.
And what about you mentioned vinyl? Is there a pre-order for that yet, or
Not yet. The vinyl thing, the manufacturing of it was taking longer.
right?
And so I have not received a date on it, but in the past it usually is, a month or so after the release, something like that.
I know a lot of those plants are backlogged quite a bit. I know people like Adele and some of the other big records that came out and stuff have put changed up plans for a lot of independent artists and trying to get records produced this year and stuff. So, but yeah, in due time we'll get there, and
That's right.
it'll be nice to have that for sure.
Amen.
I know I got Heaven's the
Heaven's
Betsy
Betsy.
on vinyl and stuff. It's fun to have my friends on vinyl there. It's cool, man. I like adding those to the collection.
Yeah, it is neat.
Absolutely.
So, but yeah, so keep an eye out for that. And again, you can get involved with Jeremiah Johnson on all your socials, and feel free to follow along for more dates. Again, at jeremiahjohnsonband.com. I thought this was another fun idea. Something I personally love doing on the show is playing some live acoustic stuff. It's one of my favorite things, and I thought it'd be fun with you guys here today if we stripped one of these down. And this was, we did Hot Diggity Dog, and this was such a fun vibe to it. Like really, Tom said, back porch, picking kind of thing. It was just fun watching you guys work, and we could have sat here all day. I felt like listening to that and just grooving. So this was really cool. Thank you for doing this live today for us. But anything come around when you guys think about Hot Diggity Dog?
Well, I mean, honestly, that was one of the tunes that Tom brought to the table, and it was just such a cool finger-picking riff that, I immediately, once I first heard him play it, I'm like, well, you got to show me how to do that. I mean, I can't let you. You can't.
He
come
got
in here
right to it too.
You can't just sit down here and play that and then not show me how you do that. Said she had enough time for a change on the last straw, pointing the blame, hot diggity dog. Look what the cat dragged in. I ain't surprised, I knew I'd see your face again. Said I crossed that line, fan the flames, add a fuel to the fire, light the gasoline, hot diggity dog. Look what the cat dragged in. 'Cause I ain't surprised, I knew I'd see your face again. Oh yeah. Went from bad to worse, call it retrograde, lay it on thick, it's a federal case, hot diggity dog. Look what the cat dragged in. Cause I ain't surprised, I knew I'd see your face again. Hot diggity dog, look what the cat dragged in. Hot diggity dog, look what the cat dragged in. 'Cause I ain't surprised, I knew I'd see your face again. Hot diggity dog. That's one that we worked on it over with me and Tom over at my place, and then we brought it in with the three of us, and we just jammed it, and it took a little bit, but then the melody started coming out with the vocals, and then the chorus came about, and we were like, yeah, that's it, you know. Then like all the songs, I have a 3-year-old son now, and during the process of this, when I would watch him during the day, he would sit and play, and I have a sunroom, and I would just sit with these songs and the recordings we were making that each week, for demos or whatever, and I would just work on the lyrics, while he was playing and hanging out, and it came together real nice, man. Hot Diggity Dog's it's just a fun picking little song, man.
It does, and I love the lyrics because it paints a picture, and it tells a story, as all of Jeremiah's songs do. They tell a story, and you can almost say, I think I know that person. I know that gal, And so it all kind of had a natural feel, and as Jeremiah said earlier, we were trying to lean towards the blues.
Yes.
But whenever you make an album, you say, okay, this is what we're going to do. And then you find out what it's going to be. It takes on a course of its own. And, we didn't want to make it too strict, like saying, well, wait a minute, this doesn't sound bluesy enough, or,
right.
We can't use this because it's not used in blues.
Or you can't use a wah pedal because it's not traditional, or anything like that.
Yeah.
We didn't put any boundaries on any of it that way. And with Hot Diggity Dog, the whole song idea was basically, a relationship where these two people are, the guy's always in trouble, and she's saying he's the worst, and this and that, complaining,
But,
and then here he is sitting there at the bar, and then he turns and looks over, and the door opens up, and here she comes walking back. That's the whole idea of the song,
Right.
I just think it's a fun tune, just a great beat, great groove. I'm just thankful that I was able to work on it with these guys. So
Yeah, man. You mentioned your son. I probably one of the biggest changes since we've last spoke on this show is that you became a dad, and I just think that's really cool to see you. Work into. I've seen you play some stuff like with the guitar around him and stuff, and I just think it's really neat to have that. I was wondering about how if he was like responding to music and stuff, like if he's like
oh, certainly, yeah. I mean, he's got 2 guitars, and he sits there and plays them every day. He bangs around on them. When you're two or three, I mean, it's just good to see that he knows how to hold it. He knows how to pluck each of the strings. He's beginning to where he knows that he's got to put his finger down on the fret to get it to change pitch. And little things like that, I never had that at that age, like no one, and he just, the love of music, like he hears a song, I see that he immediately is moving to the beat, on beat, and he actually has a preference now. He'll tell me if I like this song, and he's 3, just turned 3, a few weeks ago. And so, anytime you're a parent, or for me, a first-time parent, it's just a real blessing in general, to even have them healthy and in your life. And I just want him to be happy. I don't care if he plays guitar or whatever. He could do whatever he wants, as long as he's a happy person. And but he always will have music. He's always going to have a guitar. If he doesn't play them, I hope he doesn't sell them for something stupid. If you're listening to this 20 years from now, Leo, don't sell those guitars, Leo.
Just
if you're
hang
listening,
on to them.
Yeah. Hang on to them. But yeah, man, it's been great. And yeah, we do. I'm hoping to try to put together a little music video where he's dancing, because he's a dancing fool, man.
I was I don't know what I was listening. Was at some winery thing, and this kid played Elvis, and I immediately like started kind of laughing because the image popped in my head from Forrest Gump when show me that little move, man, like that him doing that dance and stuff, and like just imagine something like that, like getting learning some moves from your kids, and having maybe they'll teach you some dance moves to take to the stage.
Well, I'm almost 50 years old now, and I'm not planning on starting dancing because I never was good at it, and now I could probably hurt myself. But
Or your partner.
yeah, or somebody else, right? Or at least be something you don't want to look at. But it's cool, man, to have him around, and he found kids nowadays know how to operate remote controls and phones, and once he found YouTube, he fell in love with a Latin guitar player. He calls him Cool Guy, and then every day he would ask to see Cool Guy like almost 5 hours a day. But luckily, this guy is a freaking monster guitarist, and I'm thinking, sure, you can watch this all day long, man. So that's the kind of special stuff about it, But
For sure.
The other cool thing is, just letting him be a child, and that too, all the normal things. He really likes the Dickie Betts's Blue Sky guitar solo, so he'll watch that over and over. And I'm trying to find this guy's name here, but this guy is Latin guitarist, man. Oh, Lucas Imbarriba, Imbiriba. If you haven't checked this guy out, he's a monster.
Yeah.
On a guitar, man, it's just unbelievable. And anyway, so it's neat, man.
Yeah, I just think that's super cool, man. I just love seeing you two happy, and just having that relationship. Like I said, is really fun to watch, man. So
well, good, thanks.
And I think it's cool too, like you were saying, much like your son is learning from you playing guitar. You mentioned watching Tom play and learning from him.
I've learned so much from Tom. I mean, I remember at the beginning of the year, whenever I see people and I'm saying, I'm working on this album, I'm taking lessons, and people were like, "You're taking lessons? Oh my, why would you want to do that?" And as a musician, or I feel like you'll always have something to learn. You're always trying to get better, and I certainly do not know it all, and I'll be the first to admit it, but I also am the first to say, hey, I want to learn it. I want to get better. I want to try, to improve. And really, this whole album, Hi-Fi Drive-By, was sort of a statement in that, to that extent, as me saying, hey, a lot of people know me as this blues rock guy, and I know in the blues community, I'm more of a, too many notes guy probably, but not on this album. Not on this album. There's a couple songs where we just
let it rip on a couple of them.
But the rest of them, though, I mean, we stayed on basic patterns, basic,
tasteful
riffs, not too much, long bends. And it's just been wonderful to have a mentor like Tom. He lives just right in the same neighborhood as me. Nice. He's just a few houses away.
Yeah.
And over the years, I'd done shows with Jeremiah. We'd play down. I remember one time it was cold as heck, and we were down in Forest Park in front of the art museum. I think it was on an art hill, and it was like you breathe, and it was very cold, and there was a number of acts on that stage that night, and we were like the backup band for the different acts that came on. And Jeremiah came with his guitar, told us what key and everything. He got to business and did his show, and it was perfect, man. There was no snags or nothing. And I always remember Jeremiah as being very together. Some of the people that we'd have to back up would be telling us, well, unplug that and do this. I want this and I want that. He just came in, plugged in, and said, we're in A, or whatever it was, and give me a backbeat or a shuffle or whatever. And he was so easy to follow. And over the years, our paths had crossed,
Yeah.
you know, and I always had a lot of respect for him. I remember that one time you came down to the jam session, and it was the album that you did with Devin.
Yeah, Grind CD. Yeah, Devin
it
Allman,
had just
produced
gotten
it,
an
yeah.
award, a big award, hadn't it?
I don't recall which.
I can't remember what it was. I'm real bad at remembering, but I know that it was a prestigious thing for him to have received, and we were kind of celebrating.
I think that was
you
my
know.
first album that hit in the top 10 of the Billboard Blues charts. I think
Yeah.
it was number 4 or something like that.
Yeah, that ain't too shabby.
No.
So yeah, our paths had crossed, and I've always enjoyed Jeremiah's music, and I mean,
Well, thanks, man.
great guitar player, but one of the most believable singers of any race, color, creed, or whatever. The man has a deep soul in his voice that I think comes through in everything, whether it's a ballad or, you know, and that quality of the storyteller.
Oh yeah,
He can tell a story.
yeah, man.
That's right.
Well, Paul, you've been a little quiet over here. Let's get your take on some of this behind the board, making this record possible.
Absolutely.
Do you have a particular favorite moment that comes to mind when engineering and recording this record?
You know, I'll tell you a little bit about the process of how we tracked this. And,
Yeah.
and so I was on the bass guitar and I was in the control room.
Right.
And these guys, these two gentlemen plus Joe, were out here in this room. So Tom was sitting here. He's playing guitar. He hears, you know, everything through the headphones, including my bass, because there was no bass out here. Joe's doing his thing. JJ's in a little makeshift vocal booth giving us a scratch vocal. His amp's in that room in there. So we cut the foundation that we built everything else on on a Monday and a Tuesday. And so that was the bass, the 2 rhythm guitars, and the drums for all the 10 songs. Then the next day, we came back and did some keyboards. We did some guitar solos. We did some vocals. So, you know, yeah, my favorite moments are those the capturing the foundation of this is the foundational track. We're going to put all this other stuff on and making sure that it feels intuitively right and good. And we didn't do more than 3 or 4 takes for any of the 10 songs.
Right.
So it
Yeah.
speaks to the talent here and just what a joy it is to work with Joe. And, you know, to have Tom as my co-producer for this album meant so much to me. I couldn't say enough good
too
things
kind.
about Tom. He's one of my best friends, and he's been a mentor to me for over 10 years, and I'm very grateful for that.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, man. I think that's super cool. I think that's like some of my, obviously going back to classic records that we love. Like I think a lot of them all start that way. You just build it from get your nice rhythm section down and everything else, and build that off of those. And so this was cool to hear you giving a little insight on how this record came to life.
absolutely. One more little anecdote is that up until the moment we tracked it, even that morning, we were thinking that we were going to do it to a click track, but then we decided, no, we don't need it. Let's just go without it.
All right.
So.
Was that the right choice?
Oh, yeah.
I believe so.
No regrets.
Not at all. I mean,
Yeah.
Joe Meyer, you know, that guy
Yeah.
is you know, he's just perfectly dialed in, and you know, it has a natural flow to it. You know, the songs don't push and pull, but if they push a little, they push at the right spot, and then they come back. You know, like it turned out real well. You know, I thought, just to throw in on some of what Paul, the stuff that he was doing, and the wonderful production that him and Tom. You know, when it was a sight to see whenever you have all these horn players in here with these charts, and they never rehearsed the stuff, and to see it all that coming together, like it was crazy for me being a non-reader in that, and then their ears to be able to hear if something's not right or one guy's not doing this, or I was just blown away by that. So for me, that was pretty special. The couple of the other moments was that I thought that stand out to me was Maloney playing slide guitar. Yeah, that was just super awesome.
You guys, we didn't plan on that. See, we were putting the extra tracks and vocals on, and all of a sudden they go, "Hey, Tom, play slide on this." I'm going, "What?" I wish I would have had something prepared, but
No. Well, I have this amp, an overdrive special.
Yeah.
It's made by Fuchs, and it's got a real creamy Santana overdrive on it. And man, he got in there and we cranked that thing up, and man, it was just so fun to see that kind of all happen. We were like, "Oh yeah, that's exactly what we wanted right there."
Oh,
so
he
that
absolutely killed it.
That was a special to me. I'll never forget that.
And it's worth noting that Tom did that in standard tuning. A lot of slide players, they'll tune it up to an open chord. Tom plays ridiculously amazing slide guitar in standard tuning.
Yeah.
Very rare.
well, I don't know about that.
I know
it's
about that,
ridiculous. It is. But no, that particular song had a great feel to it, and is that the one?
Quicksand.
Forgive me for not knowing, but I believe that's the one that Joe starts. He's got like a couple of measures of just drums.
Yep.
And it set it up so good, and then the song, it just kind of grew. But that original 2 days that Paul was talking about, when we were done with the rhythm tracks, I think we all had a good feeling from it. There was no like, well, that could have been a little bit better, or that should have been tighter. Maybe we'll redo this one and pick up the tempo or something. We all knew, and Joe included, he felt really like, yeah, I did something too. He contributed, and it's quite a satisfying feeling to know that you've hit the mark that you were shooting for, or you know what I'm saying. You're in the ballpark with it all, and
It is.
It was a really good feeling, and I hope that comes across to the people who hear it, and they can feel good from it too. You know?
Yeah, I consider it a very joyful record.
Me too.
Oh yeah.
And Jeremiah, can we tell Shane about the photography and the documenting?
Yeah. And so from the beginning, before we got started on the record, I had an idea that I wanted to document the making of the entire thing. And we have a photographer friend, Dawn Wilcox, and she takes a lot of photos at our shows and such, and she actually took the photos that are on the cover of the album and that. And we asked her if she wanted to do it, and I was like, well, I want to make a little coffee table book that documents the entire thing, the process from us just sitting around here working out the songs at the beginning all the way to the last, whatever we added on, And she showed up every session.
She did.
And photographed the entire thing. And the book is being made right now. It's almost done.
Very cool. Yeah.
And so we'll have those available. And, that's just something that I thought, I would have never even thought of that if it wasn't for the fact that I have my son, and I thought, man, this would be something that when I'm long gone, maybe when he has children, he'll be able to pull that out and then say, there's your grandfather,
Yeah, man. Yeah, that's very cool. I'm excited to see that.
Hell yeah.
Well, you mentioned Quicksand a little bit with Tom on slide, and this is one I picked that I wanted to highlight. This is one of my favorite songs on the record. Just really, really hooked me right away. It's it's fun. It's got like kind of a, I don't know, something about it, like at the beginning with the vocal,
Gang vocals.
Yeah, it's kind of, and then like a little keys and the drum. It kind of gave me like a little New Orleans kind of vibe to it.
Swampy.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it was just, and it was fun right away, and like, and the lyrics are very relatable. I think we've all kind of been there, like you're saying. That's sometimes these are being an adult and stuff is kind of sometimes can be a slippery slope. Than where it's like you're in quicksand, you're trying to do all you can to make it, and you're never getting ahead. And so
people can relate to that these days for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I know for for myself personally, I mean, there's been a long time where I was working 2 jobs and still struggling. So it's like, you know, it just stinks when you're like doing all you can, but you can't, it's never enough, you know, so.
Yeah, and I think the important part is to never give up, you
Right.
know, and just keep on trying, you know. I mean, in the end, it's not about, you know, what you have or all that. It's about, you know, how much effort, you know, hey, you know, that guy really gave it hell, you know, and in whatever you're doing. And but yeah, that's the song, man.
I
And
like the outro where he's talking to say,
yeah.
"Hey man,
Right.
Throw me a line.
yeah, throw me."
Well, that's
I
the-
know your brother.
I'm a big fan of Jerry Reed, and so that I got all that kind of comedic stuff from him, you know, and I got a lot of his albums, and so I had to throw a little Jerry Reed tribute there at the end, and try my own little stab at it.
I liked it. I liked it. I laughed.
As you were again talking about that with Tom on Slide, I didn't really like put it all together, but I love Slide. And I mean, like I realized it was in there, but I mean, maybe that's one of my favorite, or maybe that's what hooked me in too. Like
Subliminally.
yeah, right. I'm like, but there's just, you know, I'm definitely a sucker for some slide guitar. So
Amen.
it was a nice touch, and this whole song sounded really great. So let's take a listen to Quicksand from Hi-Fi Drive-By.
Just a hard-working man trying to get by. I get up every morning with my eye on the prize. I got 1 foot in the water and 1 foot on the land. Feels like I'm in quicksand. Quicksand. I've been giving it all I can. Lord, in the man of hands, standing in quicksand. Quicksand. Struggle is real, trying to make ends meet. I hit the ground running when the boots hit the feet. I got 1 foot in the water and 1 foot on the land. Feels like I'm in quicksand. Quicksand. I've been giving it all I can. Lord, in the man of hands, standing in quicksand. Quicksand. Woo! Taking off. Trying to reel in the catch, cranking on the winch. My dollar's been stretched and my pen has been pinched. I got 1 foot in the water and 1 foot on the land. Feels like I'm in quicksand. Quicksand. I've been giving it all I can. Lord, in the man of hands, standing in quicksand. 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 Oh, look out, man. I'm gonna need a hand over here if you would, man. You know, I'm kind of like in trouble. I think I know your cousin, man. We're friends. Can you just give me a hand, bro? Man, come on. Oh, no, now you're drinking beer and watching me sing. Man, that's great. Quicksand. Spinning in quicksand.
obviously you guys are all over the place. You guys are on the road quite a bit. But we do have some big shows here locally in St. Louis, including November 25th. You'll be at Diamond Music Hall in St. Peters, Missouri, where you also filmed the Ball and Chain video, which you can check that out, the single, which that turned out real nice and on YouTube and everything now. And but you'll be over there, and this will be more of like with the horns and stuff. So
so the band is a 4-piece band. It's pretty hard to drag around more than 4 people and make enough money to pay everybody and with hotel expenses and so forth. But on this particular show, we wanted to do a special show, and that's a holiday weekend. But we're going to have Tom Maloney come in and play guitar with us, and we're going to have Casimu Taylor on trumpet and Frank Bauer on sax. Frank has been on several of my previous albums and used to be in the band and went all over the place with me, even Europe. And then Casimu Taylor on trumpet. Casimu and I went to grade school together for a while, and actually played in the school band together at Humboldt Visual and Performing Arts here in St. Louis. Wow. And so I played clarinet back then, and I was terrible at it. But and he became a master trumpet player and just a wonderful guy and a fantastic musician. So when we first talked about having horns, I thought, well, if we're going to have horns, we're going to have Casimu, or at least going to see if he wants to do it, you know? Mm-hmm. And so that's special to me that he's on the record, because that's somebody that you know, I've known and was in a little band, you know, when I was in grade school here in St. Louis. So anyway, that show is going to be fantastic. Diamond Music Hall is just a top venue for live music. I mean, the sound in there is unbelievable. They got more equipment in there than most small festivals. And the light show is like Close Encounters of the Third Kind. But you know, it's a huge venue. They've got a lot of pool tables, and they've got somewhere to sit, and it's just a nice, clean place. You know, it's going to be a great show. So I'm hoping everybody will come out to that one. We also have the show on the 21st that I wanted to mention. Yeah. The October 21st. That's going to be at the Blue House Theater out in, what is that, Winsville?
Warrenton.
Warrenton. Yeah. And I'd like people to come out there and support that place. It's an old theater that this guy's put together and made into a live music venue. And it's just a wonderful place to have a show. I really support people who take old buildings like that and convert them into live music venues and really try to make something out of them. More the tradition in the United States is to tear it down and build something new and build it cheap. And you know, in some cases, people don't want to go that route, and they want to take something old and make it something cool. And that's what they're doing out there. So.
Yeah. I went out there. I mean, they've only been open like less than a year now, but they. I think that was like the spring or something they opened up, and I went out there. I think maybe the first night was to see Tony Campanella play out there, and I was really impressed with the whole room and like the sound, and I like the exposed brick on the inside. Just like it has a real cool vibe, and I like that the actual theater seating. You can you can sit down and have a nice night, and really a great room. I liked it a lot, and I like how being that I live out that way, having something cool, bringing original music and blues and everything else out that way to us was nice too. So
and you know, to have places like that that aren't in the city and that are sort of in between cities for touring musicians is fantastic. You know, and they've got some nice, wonderful touring acts in there. And they're really making an attempt at making it into something special. And I think that they've got the right idea, and they're doing a great job. And it's going to be a fun show. Yeah.
Well, again, So is there ticket links for that, or is just pay the door? I forget how that.
You know, I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's just,
you just have to go on my Facebook page or go on the website, jeremiahjohnsonband.com, and you can find out where all of our shows are. And usually the ticket links are in the Facebook events. Yeah. But, you know, we're going to Texas in November. twice, and we're going to be in Tulsa for the first time in November. And so, you know, I go to Texas quite a bit. I spent 10 years living down there in Houston. So, you know, we're trying to expand out as much as we can after the pandemic kind of wiped the whole thing out for me. I was doing out of town a lot more before.
Right.
We also have a Florida tour. And while I'm bringing that up, you know, I'd like to send out my regards to everybody who was affected by the hurricane. Of the 12 dates, which we had 12 shows booked. 3 of the venues were hit pretty hard. I think one of them was completely wiped out, the Little Bar.
Oh, God.
That on that island, yeah.
Wow.
And so we're hoping that everybody was safe and no one got killed or hurt or anything, but we're also hoping that they're able to get their lives back and the venues back. And so if that doesn't happen, there'll be other shows we're going to do. So we still got the Florida tour in February. And then in March, I'm going to be doing my first Northeastern tour without me being a support act or whatever. So we're going to be up in like Rochester, New York. So there's a lot of exciting stuff on the horizon. You know, we're working at it, trying to make sure that we go out of town once a month for 12 to 7 days a month, and we're going to do a weekend back here in St. Louis, and then I'm going to have a weekend off every month so that I can spend some time with my family.
Yeah. And then,
Sounds like a plan.
That's
Right.
a plan. Let's see if we can make it work.
and then by that time, it gets into festival season again. So
That's right.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, but yeah, man, I'm very excited to see what's in store for you guys. And obviously, this record's a lot of fun. I can't wait for everybody else to give it a listen. Again, October 21st on all your streaming platforms. And of course, we got physical link for pre-order right now. JeremiahJohnsonBand.com for that. And but yeah, and keep an eye out for vinyl coming soon. But thank you all for doing this, man. It's been super fun getting to spend some time today talking about this record. And but yeah, I appreciate you guys doing this.
Thank you, Shane.
Thank you, Shane.
Thank you, Shane. Yeah, we appreciate you. And congratulations on being able to keep this thing going as long as you have.
Yeah.
Thanks, man.
Yes.
You know, that's not an easy feat, and it takes dedication.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's wild to think that there's 1,000 episodes of these out there. So it's pretty surreal to when I sit back and look at what the work is. But it's a ton of fun. I get to spend time with all my friends, and it's I'm glad people are listening still.
Well, you know, the lesson is in life, and even as a musician or what you're doing or whatever you're doing, you know, as long as every day you're taking a step forward, it may be baby steps, but one day you turn around, you look, you've done 1,000 shows.
Yeah.
You know,
Yep. Yeah.
Next thing you know, I look back and you know, I look at my merchandise thing when I go to shows, and you know, now I've got like 9 CDs I'm selling. Now I have more than that I don't sell, but 9 that I'm currently selling. I mean, that either makes me feel real old, or, you know. But the point is that I just keep trying.
Prolific.
You know, I keep
You're
putting a foot
prolific.
forward. You know,
Yeah.
and that's what you
Yeah.
got to do, man. You know, and so congratulations on that.
Yeah, thank
Yes.
you. Appreciate that, guys.
We appreciate you, man.
Yeah. Well, this has been great. Again, thanks, guys, and thanks everybody for listening. And we'll see you at a show. Bye, everybody.
Later.
Right on.
Woo.